I'm good.
All right. Welcome back to JKMoto Podcast, a motorcycle podcast for the everyday rider, covering current bike and racing news and specializing in track days, club racing, and
Great entertainment.
Great entertainment. We truly do it all. And this week we are brought to you once again by JKMoto Entertainment, your one-stop shop for all your track day, club racing questions and answers. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe on YouTube at JKMoto Entertainment. There's a lot of entertainment stuff going on here.
Yeah, JKE.
Yeah.
Just abbreviate it.
Anyway, we are here this week to cover MotoGP in the wonderful the Sachsenring, I believe is how they call that.
Yeah. It's pretty cool how the curbing is actually just German colors for the entire curbing.
Yeah. Sachsenring it's iconic. I was actually looking at a picture of how it's changed over the years.
Like the track layout or like the facilities around it?
Well, I mean both, but mostly the track layout. How it's gotten it started out very similar shape, but almost more technical and more tight. And it's kind of just widened it throughout the years. But yeah, if you know anything about the Sachsenring and MotoGP, you'll know who the reigning king of the Sachsenring was, and we'll get into whether or not he still is.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. I mean, he had a few years off, so it's time to see if he can reclaim the title and everything else. But outside of that, yeah, I think that's really all we're covering tonight is just the good old MotoGP round 11.
Yes.
11, because last week it was 10. So before we roll an intro, we do need to introduce our non-sponsor for the weekend.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that smells good. Oh, I never had this one before.
Oh, this one's good. Good flavor. May or may not give you wings. That's what's keeping us up and rolling tonight. So.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'll have that one too, actually.
Check out whichever brand you feel like you might need. Lock in, pop open, and let's roll an intro and get into MotoGP. My first track day, I got the pictures back, and I was like, I'm never doing that again. On the ground at 100 miles an hour. And we are back. Welcome back.
Oh no, I wasn't done yet. I'll talk to you after the
Yeah, all right. Cool. Yeah, so MotoGP in Germany, the Sachsenring, the Red Bull Ring, although there's many other tracks that are also sponsored by Red Bull.
Isn't the Red Bull Ring in Austria?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Two completely different tracks.
Because Red Bull is Austrian, part Austrian owned, part Thai owned.
Yeah, that's the Red Bull Ring. This is just the Sachsenring.
Yeah.
Two different rings. Many rings. Many rings out there.
One ring to rule them all.
Yep. But, so we have, coming into this weekend, we have an injured, kind of, Alex Marquez. We've had two
coming into the weekend, not injured during practice, got it.
Yes, yep, coming into the weekend.
Yeah, in lieu of last weekend's activities when he smoked that front and.
Yep. We have a Bezzecchi who's been doing surprisingly better on the Aprilia. We have a Jorge Martin who's still out.
It looks like he's figured it out.
It does look like maybe.
But unironically, he actually figured it out.
Yeah.
He's doing good.
Bezzecchi's getting there. They do look like they're doing pretty good. They
had a really good performance this weekend.
Yep.
On Saturday.
We got a DG who's slowly getting better and better.
Yeah.
We got a Mark who's looking to defend and win back the crown. And we get some incoming inclement weather.
Yeah. I'm curious to see projected toward the end of the season, where does VR46 stand? Like those riders in contention with the championship, and do they get third place from Pecco or not? I'm curious to see that because they had some consistent performances. I know they're not
talking like the riders in the rider championship.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fabio Di Gianantonio and Franco Morbidelli. I'm curious to see what they're doing because they've had some consistent between 4, 5, 6, and 7s.
Yeah.
And Pecco's been doing third on the podium when he gets it, except for that one. I think he got better than that.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see projected till the end of the season. Does Pecco keep third?
I gotta look now and see. Oh, well, that's a great question.
Yeah.
You want to know who's in 4th and 5th?
If I had to hazard a guess, I'd say I'd say DG Antonio, Franco Morbidelli in that order.
Absolutely, in that order too. Yeah. So Bagnaia sitting at 197. Mm-hmm. DG's at 142.
Okay, yeah.
And this is
only 11 out of 20 something, like low 20s.
So there's a chance, and the interesting part of that too is that the DG, the VR46 DG's bike is
the 25,
a GP25, and has been getting the factory treatment as far as I've been aware. Okay. I.e., anytime Marc gets an update, DG gets a chance at the same update. So it's not just like, hey, yeah, we're giving you a base bike this year. It's
and from my understanding, like we said before, the 25 is very similar to the 24, and like Franco Morbidelli has been performing with the 24.
Oh yeah, no. So you look at Alex, look at the fact that Bagnaia wanted to go back to it, look at Morbidelli, Aldeguer even, right? The GP24 is a great platform, amazing bike. Pretty, as the hard part of having the best bike on the grid is like, how do you get better the next year? And this year was kind of really in question at the beginning because they were also going to homologate. We kind of talked about all of that at the beginning of the season. There have been times where Ducati has put out updated aero, updated other things for their GP25, and both DG and Marc have used them, and Pecco has turned it down. So Pecco is almost on a GP24, essentially, at least compared to the other two. So
another question I had about manufacturers and factory team. So I know about Ducati and their factory bike and their satellite bikes and what that arrangement goes like, and then how DG's on like effectively a GP25. My question is, do the other teams, are they running a factory bike and their satellite bike is last year's bike, or not? Because what's Pramac Yamaha? Is that a 24 or is that a 25?
I do not know. I wish I had that answer for you. I've been wondering the same thing. So normally, if the satellite team is going to be on factory bikes, that's like a pretty big deal.
Okay.
Because that means they have some Yamaha sponsoring, right, or some Aprilia or Honda or whatever.
Same question for like Honda. Same question for Aprilia. So I know like at least the Aprilias, they'll say the insert name code for the bike, and if they're not something number 25, when they say RC16, I'm like, is that this year's or is that last year's? I don't know, because it doesn't say 24, 25.
Yeah, well, like the Honda RC213V.
Yeah,
they've been on that for years.
It'll require one extra step of homework on my part, and that's where I draw the line.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think because Ducati has been leading it so much, a lot of and I think it's always been like this, but a lot of these satellite teams have been used for testing new things. Yeah. Right. So the factory says like, hey, yeah, we'll give you all these new parts, but you also need to give us testing and give us your data, basically. So like that's the trade-off is like, we get all your data from testing all this stuff. You're also going to get access to all this stuff that normally you wouldn't.
No. So because at the end of the day, they are paying for the bikes.
Yeah.
So the question is, do we give you the most current bike, or we give you last year's bike and you buy that and you figure it out? Yeah. And then different teams have different relationship statuses with their manufacturers. So that's always interesting.
Yeah, well, and the other hard part is that because Ducati's had so many bikes on the grid over the last few years, is like it's pretty hard for them to not take Constructors' Championship. Yeah, right? Like no one else has.
I didn't realize Constructors' Championship was every bike you have on the grid. I thought it was like Constructors would be like effectively like an F1 Constructors' Championship is based off the teams. Mm-hmm. Even though like a team provides a power unit or helps design other people's vehicles, at the end of the day, just because 3 teams on the grid have like my stuff, only my main team. So like if a factory team theoretically could win like the Constructors' Championship. Yeah. It wouldn't be like Aprilia Racing would win just because Trackhouse won. It'd be like Trackhouse won the Constructors' Championship.
Interesting.
But in MotoGP, it's like, no, man. It's like whoever the factory is, if you're running on that bike, that they get the credit for it.
Yeah, well, it's the constructor. Because then you also have the team championship.
Well, the constructor is the one that give like a part to the team, but at the end of the day, the team does enough development on their own on top of that platform. It's
absolutely.
Like, these two things perform completely differently, so you have to ride them slightly differently. They are base similarities, granted, but there's enough difference that I can say if this satellite team won.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get what you're saying. But anyway, that's where we're at. We're in the Sachsenring. Before we kick things off too far, we are going to cover our MotoGP fantasy. Always going to cover that. Once again, we call out a weekly point winner, and once again, our weekly point winner is the man sitting in first place, Shifty, at a 232.5 points. He is all out of boosts, nothing left, so use the last one here. This weekend, I'm going to assume on the same person that I used it on, which was old Marky Mark, who did have a great weekend. So.
Yeah. Next year, though, I'll tell you what, next year, I got the strat unlocked.
You got it locked down? You're going to do well?
Yeah, I got to figure it out now.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. I
got one more year with the current rule set before they change it up, so I think I know what I'm going to do.
There you go. I made a couple trades myself, so I'm hoping for some more points coming into the next few rounds. We'll see what happens. But anyway, Shifty, go ahead and reach out to us on Instagram. Send us a DM. We'll get you your weekly winning prize. And for everyone else, if you want to click along with the fantasy, you can click the link down in the description. That'll be the code. You're going to type that into motogp.com/fantasy. Or you can just search JKMoto Entertainment on there. That'll pull up our fantasy league. Go ahead and join the league and partake in the winnings. So, without further ado, who do you want to start with, man? Or do you just want to talk about rain?
Well, so Saturday it did rain. Mm-hmm. My question is when they started, the track was wet, but it had just finished raining, from my understanding.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And it started to dry up, and I say dry up in the quotationiest of quotation marks because it was still pretty wet by the time they ended.
Correct.
But that was a wild race, and that race had less drama, I find, than I thought that race had a lot of drama. Mm-hmm. And that had less drama than the dry on Sunday did. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Which was, were they just being conservative in there?
So,
what about the sprint? The sprint was wild.
Sunday, we'll get into Sunday. Sunday was wild, and it was all near the end. And I'm wondering if there wasn't some bad tire choices or something.
I think it also might have been maybe possible debris on the track from the first couple, which only exacerbated the rest of them on Sunday. Because they were all going down the same spot. Turn 1 was undefeated.
Yeah, well, 50-50.
Yeah, but back on the sprint.
Yep.
The sprint was good, right? Marquez, Bezzecchi, Quartararo. Mm-hmm. Marquez was really doing really good. Bezzecchi got up there, was doing really, really good. And, all the screen time they were given to the Marc Bezzecchi battle, I appreciated it. But really speaking, I was focused on the little, the time ticker tracker thing. And I'm just looking on that Fabio and Fabio battle. I'm like, please let my boy get the podium. Please.
Yeah. I mean, everyone loves a rain race, besides maybe the people riding in it. I think it levels the playing field so well. And not just for the riders, but also for the manufacturers, right? Because it is one thing to build a bike that is really set up in the dry. It's another thing to have a rain bike ready and to have a rider that knows how to ride in the rain and can help set up a rain bike. And there are some key players that come out in the rain and do very well often. Unfortunately, one of those is also just a key player all around and does really well all around, which is one of the things that he has been noted for over the years. But there's some other riders that come out of nowhere, and I do think that the rain definitely allowed for that Quartararo podium that we ended up seeing.
I'm so conflicted on rain races because on one hand I do believe that riding and driving in the rain is a really important skill and it's an equalizer because what was it? So many famous ones, I think it was Senna once said in the rain all machinery is effectively equal because it was all driver skill at that point. So on one hand, I love watching them race in the rain. On the other hand, I don't like it when I see people still wrecking, especially on bikes. It terrifies me because it's I want to see a good race. I want to see battles. I don't want to see a bunch of wrecks. 1 or 2 crashes, everybody's fine, sure, but I get kind of scared because I'm I don't want the person I'm rooting for or anyone to have it and then lose it. Like when Morbidelli went off, I had a flashback to last year. I forget who it was last year, but somebody went off last year and I was then it got ran over, and I was it was in Florida. Yeah, it was a VR46 bike last year. I forget what track it was or who it was. And they cut it.
The Bagnaia.
No,
Bagnaia got his leg ran over last year.
No, there was a rider. I was watching it here, and they went. It was floor yellow. They went over with somebody, and the bike went over them, and they cut away.
Oh, yep, yeah. I think it was Alex Marquez, and I think I remember that one.
Yeah, and I was
Alex and
I was did I just watch a man die on TV? It was that I don't like seeing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Luckily, didn't have a whole bunch of that, with the exception of Morbidelli for the most part. It was the only scary crash on Saturday.
Yeah, the rain, the rain is very different, and the hard part about it is that it is from what I don't have a ton of personal experience in the rain. I've ridden in a little bit of rain before. I don't like it that much myself, but I'm willing to do it if I need to, as long as I've got my bike set up and ready for it. Most of the time I don't, because most of the time I don't plan on it raining.
Just bring a set of street tires.
Yeah, that's important. But I have seen, or after talking with people and like reading interviews with people from down to the bottom all the way to the top, rain, if it is just raining the whole time, yes, it's more slippery, but it's easier to deal with because you know the track is wet, the track is slick, and the rain tires are built for that. And you don't have to worry about them overheating because they're going to be cooled down by the rain all the time. You don't have to worry about hitting, like there was a Moto America race last year where they were talking about specifically riders are going to go ride through the puddles because they have their rain tires on and they need some water in those tires to cool them down every lap so they have them for the whole race.
They overheat and degrade faster.
Right, and that's what makes rain difficult is when it is mixed conditions and when the conditions are constantly changing because it all comes down like, you think about on a normal perfect hot sunny dry day where someone has the perfect tire setup, the perfect tire pressures, like they're good to go, they're ready to go, and look at how consistent their laps are. Like Pecco is known for that. The consistency in his lap times is just immaculate. Almost the entire race is within half a second of each other, and he's just nailing them out. You get into a mixed condition scenario, in the first lap it might be soaking wet, so you go figure out, okay, this is where I need to brake, this is where I need to get on the gas, cool, I'm ready to go, and then you're going to want to do that the rest of the race, because that's where you're going to tie into. Now it starts to dry up a little bit in turns 7 and 8. But the rest of the track's still dark, so it's still wet. How do you figure that out? Can you go faster there? Do you need to take a different line? Can you brake later? Where does all that come in? So they're
true, because you have like that drying line the entire time, and it's like, well, do you take that drying line if you're on wets? Or...
Yeah, exactly, right? So those mixed conditions are what really makes the rain difficult is like when it's not the same all the way throughout the track and not the same all the way throughout the race. And I think it's a lot of what we saw on Saturday is a couple of people are very good at reading those mixed conditions. And then yeah, the rain in general just evens the playing field on the machinery because it's all about how well you can ride in the rain and how willing you are to take the risks, but also how good you are at managing the risks that you're willing to take.
Because you'd watch them get more and more lean angled in some of the corners. They'd be like...
There were a couple of them out there that I didn't think were on. I like they were later once I started really paying attention, but a couple of them didn't look like they were on rain pucks. They looked like they were on normal knee pucks, and I was like, you guys are nuts.
Yeah, because rain puck's a little thicker, right?
Yeah.
So you have to lean as much to feet when you hit the ground.
Yep. So the rain pucks are taller, specifically to make it. I don't know if they like build them a certain height to say you can only carry this much lean angle, but it is for that reason. It's also, scratch that. Sorry, I don't know what I was about to say. But yeah, so you don't have to go down as far. So you have a new kind of baseline of like, okay, this is how far I can lean. But I mean, in the rain, your tire sizes get a little different from time to time. I don't know about in MotoGP, but a lot of rain tires for the big bikes where I'm normally running 200, they'll jump down to a 190. And that's like a pretty standard thing. They might have come away from that recently, but that was a standard thing back in the day.
Did not know that.
Yeah, so like the whole game changes. And once again, it's also not just how well a rider can ride, but like your team will have a rain bike in the garage if there's rain weather suspected, right? That rain bike, it's a lot more than just tires. Like
yeah,
there are many different.
It's just set up differently.
Yeah, there's many different electronics on there. There are different brakes on there. There's different tires on there. Cool, we got rain tires. That's like the easiest part. But that bike is set up completely different. The suspension is probably even going to be set up different because it is a completely different game. And that's another thing is like how well does that rider know how to talk to his mechanics to get that rain bike set up for him and how he wants it done in the rain, and then how well can he make that all work together out on the track. And that's where you see people like Jack Miller kind of start to shine, because Jack Miller is one that he might not be the best rider overall or at the top level, but he's one of those guys that could realistically hop on anything and do pretty well.
I do like Jack Miller.
Yeah, so that's where we start to see some of those people shine. Saturday was nuts. In fact, Jack Miller came up in 5th. Zarco did pretty well, finished in 7th. Bezzecchi, Quartararo able to finish in 3rd. DG did really good, finished in 4th. DG had a really good weekend altogether. And Marquez won the sprint. So the interesting thing there, though, was that Marquez did not lead the sprint the whole time by any means. And that was a fun time for me because I was on the edge of my seat because I had just boosted this guy. And I was
You're like...
Yeah, I was like, I just put a boost on him. I made a bet. The bet was it's a Sachsenring. He's going to want the title back. I don't believe he got it back last year. He definitely didn't get it back the year before that because that was the year that he actually didn't even start that race because he wrecked so many times in practice. And finally, the Sachsenring in 2023 was when Mark said, I'm done. I'm not doing Honda anymore. I got to figure something else out. And that weekend, it wasn't just I got to go to a different bike. It was I might retire. I might just be done. This is too much.
Yeah.
But
Glad he didn't do that.
Yeah.
Because now I get to see the generational run that is Marc Marquez. He's my favorite rider, but I do like watching him show us like what like perfection looks like. Maybe that's a little bit much, but like I do like watching him like put a gap on. It's like everybody's here, and he's like there, and to think that like he's old in the sport now, and he's still doing that. I just love to see it.
He's on track, so he just clocked over 69 wins. The only person that hasn't beat is Valentino Rossi now.
Oh, yeah.
Rossi's at 89.
It was pretty cool to watch that 200, 100 starts with his brother.
Yeah.
I just love seeing them on the podium and everything they do together. It's like so wholesome. Like, imagine having the family be dominant in a sport on that global level.
Yeah.
That name is synonymous with racing.
Imagine being the Marquez brothers' dad.
Yeah.
Because and it's been going on for years at this point, but like every weekend that he wins is just one more like penny in the pile of when I bought him that dirt bike at 3 years old, it was worth it.
Yeah.
Or whatever, whatever he did to set him up. I know that his dad's been with him for a very long time.
Whatever sacrifice they made in the moment was worth it.
Yeah, right. It all came back around 100% worth it, and you get to just bask in that glory knowing that a little piece of that is 100% yours. Like that's awesome. That's actually a very interesting story. We're not going to get into that tonight because I don't have time. Maybe some night we'll cover the Marc Marquez history and saga. I should probably talk about it. But the story between him and his dad, specifically when, like, from the start to when he crossed over to MotoGP and the conversations that happened there and kind of how that transition of, okay, I'm now racing professionally is very interesting. It's different. It's not what you might expect. But
now I'm curious. Now I'll do some research.
Yeah, it's worth it. If you go watch the Marquez documentary, I believe on Amazon, it goes into it a little bit, and then you can do some research into it and see that there was not an exchange, but there was a talk between him and his dad when he went to MotoGP of like, okay, hey, this is where I am now, and this is where I expect you to be. And it's not that I don't respect you. Anyway, like I said, I'm not going to get into it tonight, but there is some.
Well, whatever conversation they had obviously worked.
Yeah, but it's sweet. I think there's a good shot he finishes this season taking over as the most MotoGP wins. What's crazy is that, like I said, he doesn't feel like he's on his way out.
No, now the performance is distant. A lot of times you'll see someone like a few championships and they'll taper off as a younger generation catches up.
Yep.
And at some point they'll they'll maintain all the status and like the prestige they once had, but they're no longer winning as much. And so they might hop around from team to team, or they'll just slowly go their way out. And you see a lot of times in different motorsports.
Oh yeah, I mean,
but he's still up here.
Yeah, well, the crazy part is though, like he had his time, and it just kept going and going and going, and then it went, and we saw the other people come up.
Yeah, I saw when that thing was happening with Honda. Granted, I wasn't watching it, but I thought
it wasn't just Honda. He had a wreck. He was out. He was gone.
So I came in after the wreck, and he had gotten back, and he wasn't doing that good Honda, but I knew who he was because I heard about him from you, and his name was synonymous with MotoGP at that point. His name and Valentino Rossi's, and then he went to Gresini. I was like, all right, it's a different bike. He'll probably do all right. He might do better. I didn't really expect anything of it. I thought he was on his way out. Then halfway through the season, like he hit his groove, started doing better, and I was like, oh.
That's what.
And then this year, it's only been that.
Yeah. I mean, he definitely showed that. Yeah, he took a couple years off for his injury, and he's not done yet.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's gonna be done anytime soon. I think 2027 will be real interesting, but I almost think 2027 will be better for him because I think it's gonna level a lot. And it's going to require a lot more riding skill, and it's going to go back to something that he's actually got more
experience in compared to the grid.
Yeah. I think it'll be real interesting and real cool to see, and I think he'll do at least 1 or 2 seasons in there. If not, I mean, he might try and just keep going. He's not per se too old yet.
No.
He's still fit enough to do it. Yeah, he's doing fine. So outside of another big wreck, knock on wood somewhere.
Yeah,
I got it.
You got to go to the workbench.
All right, knocked on some wood. I had to do that. But yeah, anyway, the sprint. We had a great podium. I was a little scared because we had the first ever of this season sprint podium without a Marquez 1-2. And so I was a little worried for Alex.
What were you scared about?
Just Alex is I don't know.
Oh.
I wasn't scared, right? It's cool to
okay.
have Bezzecchi up there. Cool to have Quartararo up there.
Gotta get some variety up there. Can't have a Marquez every weekend. Gotta keep it.
Yeah, I mean you could.
I mean, you could. It is pretty cool when they're my 1-2 in MotoGP.
But I had no fear of Alex coming back after the summer break, but I knew we still had this weekend and next weekend. So to see Alex do so bad for him this year in the sprint, I was just like, ooh, is he going to be out for this weekend and next weekend? And then summer break always kind of resets things. It's a new season coming out after that. But Alex kind of turned it around on Sunday.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Also, you could also chalk it up to like the mixed conditions on Saturday as well. Like, it was kind of a mixed bag what happens with everybody.
Yeah, that's
I'm not
fair.
saying he's bad in the mixed conditions, but I mean, like, it always kind of shakes it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he didn't do that great in qualifying, and you know, I can't blame the man.
Because even Marc Marquez blew turn 1 in the sprint. Like, he went wild. Fantastic launch. And they're all like, he's doing the thing. And then you watch that overhead view of everybody cutting it up, and he's just like,
yeah.
They're like, oh no, he like missed his braking marker or something. He went,
what, 6th or 5th?
Yeah, he lost a lot of positions,
Like,
and that is why he wasn't leading the sprint for so long, because he had to make up those. And then he did. Credit to him, he did. But like watching that, I was like, oh, what just happened there?
Yeah, turn 1 was rough, but he didn't lay it down. So
Didn't lay it down.
Anyway, Mark brought it home. Got Bezzecchi at the end. Bezzecchi put up a pretty good fight. Was able to get him in the end. Brought it home for the win. So
I think I'm done.
And that, yeah, I mean that's about it. Like you said, that there was more drama on Sunday than there was on Saturday, which is nuts because Saturday had the rain. So
it's funny because I told you I hadn't seen the race yet, but the sprint had a lot of drama. You told me there was more drama. I was like, how?
Yeah.
And then I watched the race when I left work, and I was like, oh,
that's how.
That's how.
Yep, that's how.
Because in my mind, like I knew it was gonna be a dry race. So I was like, what do you mean? Mixed conditions have been like the most exciting. Like,
Yeah. So starting on Sunday, we've got 18 riders on the grid, and it is hot. It is dry. It's the Sachsenring.
I was sad to see Maverick Vinales not here this weekend because of his injury. I was like, I was really looking forward to seeing him on the KTM.
I mean, the KTM figured it out, so Vinales needs to be there.
Yeah, but the problem is the only rider they had on Sunday was Brad Binder.
Yeah.
75% of the KTM riders were gone.
Wow, Acosta was there.
Oh, he started. That's true.
He was actually doing pretty good.
Yeah.
I think he was the start of the drama.
Yeah.
If I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know what? We'll talk about Acosta, because I had some thoughts during the race. Acosta wrecked out. The drama we're talking about, there was a lot of wrecking out. We'll get into that in a little bit. But
it all looks so similar, too, because every time you see it, they tuck the front. Coming out of that turn 1.
Yep, everyone's tucking the front.
With the elevation change.
Yep. Yeah. And it's, I mean, you mentioned something on the track. You know, maybe. I had the similar thought. I was wondering if it wasn't a tire issue. It could also just be that these bikes, and you know, the bikes are ever changing. The technology is ever changing. Even the tires. Like, I know Michelin tries to keep their tires the same throughout the season, but like they'll change the tire a little bit. And there's been times in the past where a tire manufacturer has come to a track with a compound that they think is good for the track, and everyone uses it and hates it. They're like, no, this is not what we need.
This is garbage.
Yeah, and
give me that old stuff.
Right, and so because it's a
tire.
completely different tire for every track, and it's set up, you know, asymmetrical. However many more turns, they've got more rubber on that side and all that stuff.
They actually break the tires down like that. Like if I'm going to this track, I'll put more compound on this side.
Oh yeah,
it's not uniform.
Yeah, no, like if you put a Michelin tire for MotoGP on your bike, one, I'm pretty sure MotoGP is still running a 16-inch wheel, so it wouldn't even fit on any modern sport bike. And then two, yeah, they're all asymmetrical setup for the track. And so, like, yeah, you have a hard and a medium compound to choose from, or medium soft or whatever. Yeah, no, they are, like, for that track for that weekend. That's all they do. So there's no... And everyone's going to be on the same tires, so there's no point in, like, doing it differently.
I've seen the tire breakdowns at the beginning of, like, the MotoGP race, but I didn't realize it was, like, no, from track to track, this tire is different. I thought you were talking about, like, it'll wear in these parts more than these other parts. Which, I mean, it's true, but I mean...
Yeah, no, they're setting it up a little different for every track. So I mean, it's cool because it gives Michelin gets a lot of kickback for that because they get all the tires at the end and they can analyze them. They can look at the data, and they get to use that for future.
I'm also always surprised that the tire manufacturer is Michelin, not Pirelli.
For MotoGP.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's moved around a good bit. It was Bridgestone for a while. I think it went to Pirelli for a little bit. Went to Michelin. I don't think MotoGP's ever run Dunlop.
Moto America's Dunlop, though, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, and Moto2 is Dunlop.
Interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, MotoGP's been Michelin for a while, which was also interesting to me because Pirelli in my head is always like the big, the bad, the expensive. Michelin's actually more expensive. If you go buy some Michelin slicks right now for your bike, you will pay more money than a Pirelli slick.
Well, I don't want to spend a whole lot of money on my consumables unless I absolutely have to for safety.
Yep, I agree. So that's that. But yes, we come into Pedro. I want to talk about Pedro because Pedro put his bike down. Mm-hmm. Pedro is not a rookie anymore, but kind of. Pedro's on a factory bike. It's on a factory KTM. There's been some articles that are. So I'll let the audience in on a secret because I'm so big into this MotoGP thing. I mean, I'm a host of a podcast that you guys are listening to right now, which, by the way, if I didn't mention, we're not just on YouTube. If you made it this far in and you're still watching and you don't want to anymore, go ahead and click the RSS link down in the description. You can head over to our RSS feed and find us on whatever platform you'd like to listen on. Yep. Or you can stay right here on YouTube. That's fine too. Just put it in the background. I don't really care. But I get a lot of Facebook posts every day about, oh, this guy said this thing. And most of it's just a bunch of filled the bathtub up with medium to warm water, and there's a little bit of spicy water in there from time to time. It's very hard to decipher, is this legit or is it not? When I'm talking about things that like supposedly this, supposedly that, some of it comes from those a little bit, but usually I go double check those sources before I'm going to put it out on here. We try very hard to make sure that our info that is on here is not just something I heard in the wind from some unknown source. So I'll go kind of double check that with a few different places. And a lot of our stuff just comes from MotoGP. But anyway, it has been said, supposedly, that Pedro has already said the words, if KTM can't figure this out, I've got to go somewhere else because I need a winning machinery.
That's a fair statement. He's got a lot of talent. He's brand new. Doesn't want to get stuck with a subpar machine.
Exactly. Right. Very fair statement. Also, there's still kind of the question of, is KTM going to still be here?
Yeah.
They haven't really fully answered that yet. It seems like we're good for this season.
I think BMW's buying them.
Maybe. Yep.
Maybe. Yeah. But it's been a while since you heard anything in the public about that whole.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, that kind of all just died off. Like the season's in, everyone's just in, and we're all not talking about it. Yeah. But Pedro this weekend, I was watching, and he went down, and he got up immediately afterward, and he was really upset, and then went back to the paddock, and I was just thinking about it, and I was like, for a rookie, that's actually not necessarily a bad thing. And I think back to Marc Marquez when he first started out, or any of the greats really when they first started out, they would wreck quite a bit because they're figuring that bike out and they're pushing it to the absolute limit and trying to figure out where that limit is. And that's a great method to do it. And I think there might be a little bit of that still for Pedro. I think that he still has that fighting spirit, and he's trying his best to get out there, get up there, and he's just pushing a little bit over what the bike can actually handle.
Yeah, because you watch him move up through the places, and he's battling. He's getting what that bike's giving.
Yeah, and he's got the fight in him, right? It's not like he's backing down. Yeah. He's not afraid to pass people. He rode with Mark last year several different times and had some good battles there.
That's when I became a fan. I was like, I don't know what this kid is, but I like him.
So, anyway, he went down. It sucks to be KTM factory, but, does it suck because you're mad at your rider for wrecking the bike, or does it suck because you know that your rider is good and you can't provide him the bike he needs? And that's just what I was thinking about all weekend was
That's how I feel about Yamaha and Quartararo.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to say is how many riders are there out there on the grid that are actually maybe way better than we're looking at? The manufacturer just can't give them the right machinery.
And that's one of the greatest tragedies in the sport. It's you can go your whole career in some of those things based on what seats are filled, contractual obligations, and then machinery dominance at the time where a good rider and a bike that would fit him never line up.
Yep. And I mean that's what makes it great. That's where you get it great. Is you get a team that is great. You get a rider that is amazing, you get a bike that is amazing, and they all work together perfectly to present the whole package on the track.
Even Marc Marquez, think about it. What if he stayed with Honda and became a midfield bike?
Yeah, I think the difference is that Mark knows that he is good enough at the other pieces. Because that's the thing to think about too, is like, to be Mark and to be like, well, look at my riding, I'm the best rider on the grid. There's got to be more to it than that. And you think about it, there is, because Pecco is on the same bike this year with a team that he's been with for multiple years, and he's won 2 championships with, and came runner-up barely by like a couple points last year. So arguably, Pecco should be in a better spot than Mark.
Yep.
And I gotta believe that it's not just Mark's talent out there on the track riding, but it's Mark's talent all around, to where he knows how to come in, set up a team, get everyone meshed together, figure out a bike, get the mechanics to put it together exactly how he needs it, and then go out and make it happen. And that's why we're seeing such a, like, when you think about it, the fact that Marquez has spent less than 2 years on this Ducati.
On a Ducati, period.
Yep, after spending...
Before this was Japanese manufacturers.
After spending 11 years straight on a Honda, and he is putting down gaps that are, I mean, like, you have been, impressed.
He'll have a second or two. This last race, obviously, was a lot longer than that, but we had people crashing out left, right, and center. And when Bezzecchi went out, and then DG Antonio went out, that gap only got...
Yeah.
It was like the gap between like first and third or first and fourth, effectively, because the second crashed out and the new second place crashed out.
Yeah. But I mean, I think we're running on 3 weekends in a row now that he's gotten all 37 points of the weekend. And it is very, very impressive. And to say that Mark is not truly amazing. Sorry.
In case you haven't ascertained that by now. These last few weeks.
It is just difficult for me, because from a scientific standpoint, Bagnaia should be better.
On paper, same team, 2-time world champion, barely missed on the next one. Should have it all figured out on that bike, and then Mark comes in and is like, no, I figured it out on this bike with the team.
Yeah, and I just think it says something to not just his riding ability, but the other abilities that we don't really think about as often, which are very important. So, anyway, we talked about Bezzecchi wrecking out, we talked about DG wrecking out, Zarco wrecking out.
Pedro.
Never would have guessed it.
Okay, that one made me really sad.
Which one?
Juan Mir.
Yeah.
When he went out, when they show you that replay, I love Ayagura. I love him. All right? But then when he went out and he took Juan Mir with him, it's fun to make fun of Juan Mir for crashing out. Yeah, but like, he's had these last few crashes and it wasn't even his fault. He's in the wrong place in the wrong time and he's a victim. And it sucks because it just perpetuates the myth that he always crashes out. And if it's not your fault, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you still crashed out. When you look at the records for the race, no one's going to say, oh, yeah, I crashed. Let's say I crashed 10 times. In the moment, I'm like, oh, somebody crashed me out. Sure, but when it's time for contract negotiations, objectively, stat line-wise, you look at like, oh, man, I finished less than half the weekends this last year. And then when I did finish, did I even get top 10? Maybe I did, but I crashed the bike out. You think they care that somebody crashed into me 8 of those 10 times? No, they just got DNF'd.
Yeah.
And that sucks.
Yeah, I've given up on Juan Mir personally, as a fan, and as a defendant of him being championship material.
Yeah.
So I'm finally in agreement, and there might be someone that may listen to this podcast anymore. I don't think he does, but if you're listening and you're gonna you finally got to me. Juan Mir won the world championship in 2020, I believe.
Yo, Suzuki, right?
Yep. Let's see. Joan Mir, MotoGP championship win.
Speaking of which, will we ever get Suzuki back?
No. 2020. Yeah, probably randomly in 2020, like 9, they're going to just be like, hey, we want to join back in. And then MotoGP is going to be like, well, Dorna's going to be like, should we really give you a contract? They're like, yeah, we're good for it this time, we promise. We started making more dump trucks for this random country off the coast of Africa, and so we're good to go. I don't know. I mean, I'm making all this up, but whatever. Honestly,
there were a few manufacturers still putting out 600s and 750s and leader bikes, and for the most part, they're not like suffering from emissions. I don't think.
So, Suzuki, they've always kind of done this, but I'm going to say something here that I don't have anything to back outside of my own opinion.
Now I'm curious.
This is purely opinion based. I think that Suzuki is about to just leave altogether.
The motorcycle game?
Period. Everything they do. I think the only reason they are still making motorcycles is because they have so many parts still. Because when they first designed their motorcycles, they just bought all the stuff.
Because they're not like, from my understanding, they haven't done any kind of like generational updates. The last generation's been like
2019, they came out with the new Gixxer 1000, and that was it. And they have not done anything since then. Yeah. They still have freaking kickstarts on their dirt bikes. Ain't no one got that anymore. Like, they are very, very behind the game. And that's why they're not dealing with emissions. They haven't changed anything. Everyone else is like, we need more power. So they put more power, and then they don't meet emission standards anymore. So they got to refigure all that out. That's where the whole thing comes from.
Because like emission standards is why we're getting the CC engine stuff we're getting today. Like for Yamaha, they're just taking stuff that passes emissions and chucking it on their bike. Like was it the MT-09 or MT-10, whatever motor that is just the R9 with we'll put fairings on it.
Yeah, the MT-09.
Because if you look at the muffler, it's like the stock muffler is very unattractive.
Yeah.
Same thing for the MT-07. It's like, well, it sells like hotcakes. Let's just put fairings on it. People did get sad because they thought it was going to replace the R6. Because they're discontinuing that because that couldn't pass emissions. But like, hey, what if we sell it to you for the track only?
Yep.
Cowie did the whole thing with the ZX4R, which I think is selling decently. I know they had a limited run for the first one, but like you got to get that unlocked for like for the real numbers that everybody's talking about. You have to like get that ECU flashed.
Yeah.
They're barely, well, they're not barely. They're still making the ZX6R for now. Mm-hmm. That's kind of like their brand. They don't make anything else other than like, well, they do make other stuff obviously, but like sport bike wise, not kind of like the 650 or the 500s, which is really I think where their money's being made from, for the general populace.
You don't make money on this at all.
Granted, they still sell the ZX6R, but I gotta look at their sale numbers to be talking to. Ducati's doing whatever they're doing with the V2s and the V4Rs. It's Ducati, so that name is selling it as a high-end bike.
Yeah.
And then Honda, like, out of my personal friend group, I've known one person, two people who own. I know one person that actually owns a 650, which is like a competitor for the Ninja 650, even though it's an inline four. And then like I know a couple people with like 600. I don't know anybody with a Fireblade or 1000 in a Honda.
Yeah, I think Honda will stick around. I think that's because Honda's got enough other stuff they do that they'll make money and they'll keep pumping.
Yeah, because I love their cars, man. I'd love to get a Type R. Money wasn't an issue. Well, yeah, say what you want. I love me those cars.
All right, sure.
We'll talk more about that offline.
Yeah, but once again, it's just purely personal opinion. I think that honestly, somewhere in Suzuki, they are just hanging on to trying to make as much money as they can on the stuff they already spent.
Because Suzuki is like, when it comes to sport bike, even for sport bike street riders, one of the most iconic names that goes with it is Gixxer.
Well, yeah, I mean, they started it. Yeah. I've done the history on this thing before, and they started it. I really hope they don't leave.
Yeah.
But that or they're just like waiting around.
Like if I want to get in the track for the first time and I didn't already own the bikes I owned, I'd probably get a Gixxer 600 for the track.
Yeah.
Because the parts are cheap and you can get a pre-track built one for like under 10 grand, probably 5K easy.
Yeah, the other option that is also purely just an opinion idea of mine that just popped in my head is that they are waiting. As you think about it, like Yamaha is kind of low-key like going crazy right now. Like let's take just MotoGP snapshot real quick. Or even MotoGP and World Superbike. The Japanese manufacturers are struggling big time. It's because of this emissions thing. There is a possibility that Suzuki saw that, and so they said, hey, let's just pause on figuring things out, and let's wait and see what happens for a few years, and then we'll come in and see if we can slip in once everything settles down. So there's a possibility we hit 2027, we hit new emissions in MotoGP, or new regulations for engine size, and Suzuki comes in and just releases an entire new line of bikes, which would actually be perfect for them because
they have been updating their street stuff. Like
there's a chance that this 750 actually comes back because that is the way the world is going.
Not kind of like the actual true-blooded super sports. They have been putting out street bikes. Like they have that 8R.
Yeah.
And I don't know the selling, but I think that's selling decent. All those more torquey, like effectively nakeds, but with fairings on it, they've been selling pretty well across all manufacturers.
Which that's another thing too is they might just be kind of like
that seems to like be the move. Get the torquey naked bike. With the engine, with the torquey for everyday riding, put the fairings on it. Because you can say what you want about the average street rider. You give him a 600, you are not revving that thing out. Even if you want to be illegal, you don't have the room for it. Like, unless you're doing highway pulls repeatedly and that's all you do. But like, if you're hitting the twisties, you're not really banging that like you do on the track.
No, absolutely.
So like, you're running around traffic effectively gutless, and some dude with a naked down low, he's got the torque.
Yep. No, yeah, I mean the low end torque bikes make a ton of sense, honestly. So I see why they sell so well. But we were talking about Joan Mir.
Yeah,
and
big tangent.
Yeah, apologize for that. But I was specifically talking about how I lost it, and I was because I saw a statistic, and it was MotoGP champions with the least number of wins. And there's a few in there, like Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia, who are relatively low on the list. Why? Because they haven't been in the sport that long, so they don't have as many wins. There is one man on there who will forever hold the record until someone doesn't ever win a MotoGP race and still wins a championship, and that is Joan Mir. He has won one MotoGP race in his entire career.
Was that all just a season of consistency? Like
it was, and I've talked about that before, and I've said that, well, that's still championship material.
Yeah.
Right? If you know that you are not fast enough to win, but you will consistently place third, second, fifth, third, second, fifth, second, third, that's how you're going to win a championship, that can be done. Because this other guy might be first, 10th, 15th, DNF, first, DNF. You can win by doing that, right? And so I said, there are different ways to win it. I think he is still a championship rider. And realistically, if he came out on that Honda and every weekend placed top 5, Honda's going to keep him forever. That's not a bad place to be, right? He cannot do that anymore.
The issue is that even when he finishes, it's not. Sometimes it's good, but even when he finishes, it's generally not that good. There's an opinion, but I think Luke Salvatore, that's his teammate, right?
Luca Marini?
I'm sorry, Luke Salvatore's the Aprilia guy. Yeah, Luca Marini, he's performing on average better than him just because he's finishing the race more often.
Yeah. And Luca Marini doesn't have a good record, period. He did okay on the Ducati on the VR46 team for the year that he was there, or the 2 years. And then Honda was like, we need a rider. And he was like, how much are you paying me? That's a lot. Yeah, sure. I'm not a factory level rider, but I'll take a factory ride, absolutely, because no one else wanted the ride. And Mir was just happy to have a ride, I think. And at this point, I think Mir will stick there for forever. But like I said, we'll see what happens when 2027 comes around. That's like the name of the game for every single round this week.
It's like a factory. It's like a factory reset for the grid, for the team, for the riders, for everything.
Yep, and it is going to be big and interesting.
It'll also be interesting to see if a lot of manufacturers don't choose at that moment to bring some more rookies up from Moto2.
Possibly, yeah.
Because you've seen people like Pedro Acosta and Iagora, they've been performing.
Yeah.
And like the best time to do that will be a factory reset of the grid, which would be the 27
Oh yeah,
regulations.
100%. You bring in a rookie and put him out there with these veterans that are veterans on big bikes, and we don't have big bikes anymore. Here you go. No. Yeah, it'll level the playing field. I think we will see like a generational shift in MotoGP. And that's also why I think we'll see Marc stick around for at least 1 or 2 seasons.
Show these young bloods how it's done.
Well, and just to like really set the stage. And also, if you think about it, Marc has only ever been on the 1000s. That'll give him a chance to secure, like, if he won, say, the 2027 championship, that would give him another record to keep him up with Rossi, where he went through multiple different bikes.
Say what you want about them. I think their names are held in like the same conversations. Like I know Rossi was a little older, started a little earlier, and is like regarded as one of the greats, but I think Marquez is up there in that same conversation. I know there's a lot of people who like, I am a Rossi fan, so I don't like Marquez or Marquez because I don't like Rossi because of the rivalry they had in the past, but I'm like, as someone who's coming in after the fact, I think their names are in the same conversations. Granted, I do think that Rossi still has a few more records on Marc right now, but it's not like Marc's that far behind.
So Rossi has records on Marc. Outside of the personal rivalry, there is one thing that Rossi has that Marc may never have. And it's going to stem from many, many different things. One of them being that's just how Rossi was. And that's what Rossi did, which is the fact that Rossi built a legacy in the fans. And that's why Rossi's name is all over the world. Because
What do you mean by that?
Valentino Rossi is as much a character as he is a professional motorcycle racer. Like Valentino Rossi, that name is known.
You mean like we don't call him Street Marquez, we call him Street Rossis?
Exactly, right? The Valentino Rossi name is known because MotoGP is just another soap opera, and Rossi was a big character in the soap opera for so many years. He was also a big character in the soap opera when things were changing big time. When we finally got to watch racing on TV, when we could watch it live on TV, when we went from 2-stroke to 4-stroke, when we watched, like, there weren't electronics, it was big, it was crazy, and Rossi was like the start of the championship. You know when they do the weird animated crazy stuff for the championship win at the end?
Yeah.
Like Martin goes in and comes out and he's half Terminator. That started with Rossi. Before that, it was just like, yep, here's more wine in a bottle, call it good, like champagne, whatever. We do a bigger champagne blast today. Rossi started all of that. Rossi started the getting the fans in, you know, the smoke coming out on the stage or in the crowd around the first lap. Like, Rossi's behind a lot of that. And so that characterness of him, I think, is something that every other rider after him will just be imitating. And Marquez is also pretty good at it, don't get me wrong. But you go to any random kid on the street that's buying a motorcycle today, and you ask him if he knows Valentino Rossi, there's a 50% chance. You ask about Marc Marquez, there's a 30% chance. And that, I don't know if that'll ever change. Outside of, you know, Liberty Media doing something crazy and actually making MotoGP get huge again for, like, the general media. I say this, we are an American MotoGP podcast, so I do recognize across the pond it might be a lot different. I'm actually very curious on that. If you're a listener over in Europe and you want to chime in and let us know, like, well, you know, Mark is just as big of a name over here or just as big as Ross or whatever, I'm very curious on that, kind of how that lives over there. But I know that here in America, Marc Marquez will never be as big of a name as Rossi.
I knew when I was like, we had a buddy, when I was first getting motorcycles, like he had a 46 helmet, and I knew that was Rossi's helmet. I didn't know what Marquez's number at the time was, but I knew like 46 was Rossi. I knew like 46, that color, Rossi.
That's the other thing too is...
And I knew that motorcycles raced.
AGV is still selling Rossi helmets today. How many Marc Marquez helmets do you see? Like Shoei doesn't really do that, but AGV sells the crap out of Rossi helmets. So, I think it's because Rossi just plays that card, and he plays it really hard. I think that he set himself up for success that way. He was a character, and he played into that. And there's no way he's not talking to AGV and sells them his designs every year to say, yep, you can now sell these on your market. The crazy part, though, is that some people pick up those helmets and they have no idea why it says 46 on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you get a 93 helmet, I guarantee most people wouldn't know anything.
It's like Michael Jordan in basketball. His name is big and it's left the sport. It's now like in and of itself is a name that is recognized outside of the sport, even though it's tied to the sport.
Yep.
If that makes any sense.
Like Jordans.
Yeah.
Someone might not know crap about basketball, but everyone knows what Jordans are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone knows who Rossi is. Not everyone, but you are much more likely. And I've made that argument for a long time.
I think Josh brought it up last time he was here, something about like he knows the name Valentino Rossi is associated with motorcycle, even though he does not follow, well now he does, but before he didn't follow MotoGP at all, but he could tell you if you heard Valentino Rossi, motorcycle racing.
Yep.
Never watched motorcycle racing before, but he knew that name was attached to that.
Yep, and it is crazy because like I've told people I race motorcycles before, and they're like, "Oh, what do you mean?" And I'll be like, "Well, you know, do you know what MotoGP is?" They're like, "No." Okay, have you ever seen the videos of the dudes like dragging their knee on the ground? Like, yeah, I was like, yeah, like Valentino Rossi. They're like, oh yeah, I've heard that name. I'm like, okay, that's not what I do, but that is what you know. Like, no, I don't do that, but you know, that's the realm I'm in, kind of.
They're here. I am somewhere below that.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry for the side tangent on Rossi. I think we're just about done here. I think outside of that, you know, we just talked about 8 people wrecking out of the race on Sunday.
Yeah, it felt like the objective for this race wasn't just to like go out and do good. It was just to survive. If you can make it out of turn 1, every like once a lap was a skill check. Yeah. Do you make it out of turn 1?
Yeah, especially like from lap 20 on, it was just like dink, 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 just counting them off.
Like if you finished the race, you finished in the points.
The funny part was what did we end up with on the podium?
The top, yeah, okay. I was gonna say like if you finished the race, congratulations, you're a top 10 racer today, which is like a wild statement to say when the grid's like I think 22 racers.
Yeah, it's supposed to be.
But like you were saying, we hit the 1, 2, 3 of the Marquez special.
Yeah, we hit the red, blue,
featuring
red.
Francesco Bagnaia.
Yep, we hit the red, blue, red. It was good.
Hey, Colorado though. Fourth place, P4.
So I was only sad because this is about time we get into Rider of the Day, and then I've got one more story about Marquez real quick.
So I was conflicted on Rider of the Day.
Okay.
And then, it was Fabio or Fabio for me. And I picked Fabio. The blue one.
Which one? Okay.
The blue one. I
All
picked
right,
Quartararo.
cool.
The fact that he got that podium, and then it wasn't necessarily close this time today, just because and by today I mean on Sunday, just because the time difference was there. But it's Quartararo. Although DJ Antonio also had a fantastic weekend.
So
I will not discount that.
I was gonna pick Bezzecchi, and then he wrecked out. I was like, well, can't do that. And that was
I agree. It was gonna during the race. It would if Bezzecchi had finished in second, it would have been Bezzecchi.
Yeah, right. And then I was like, well, my other thought the whole time, because I'm sitting here trying to piece it together, and I was like, my other thought was DG, because I love DG. We've been talking about him a lot. He's coming up a lot, and I was like, so Bezzecchi goes down. I'm like, DG it is. Next lap, DG's out. I'm like, ugh.
I wanted DG on the podium again for one of those speeches.
Yeah, right? So I'm still going to argue DG. I think he had a great weekend. I think DG's really starting to come through with that GP25 and put everything together. I think we're going to see some, kind of like we talked about at the beginning of the episode, we're going to see some really good things coming from him over the next few weekends.
Yeah.
To include maybe he takes that spot from Beck.
He's quickly becoming one of my favorite writers.
Yeah.
Because before I got into this, I knew the name Marc Marquez. And then after watching, There Can Only Be Ones, all right, I know I like Jorge Martin, and I know I like Fabio Quartararo, and those are my guys for, ever. Mm-hmm. And now I'm it's expanding. I know I like Jack Miller, too. I know I like Brad Binder. Ooh, these new rookies, Agur and Acosta, are pretty cool.
Yeah, I think DG's definitely going to take my second spot behind Mark, just because of his attitude. He's a fun guy.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything bad from him, never seen any foul play. He's not one of those dudes that, wrecks and gets all pissed off. He's just I did it. I don't really care. I'm here. I'm making money. Whatever, guys. And I've been thinking for a long time. I've been trying to figure out, who am I going to root for when Mark does finally retire? What am I going to do? I got to have a racer. Or maybe I'll just be one of those salty Marc Marquez fans. There are so many Rossi fans still. I'll just go to every MotoGP race and just...
I didn't realize there was so much Marquez-Rossi beef until, I got deeper in the sport and you find, got all the lore and all, the backstory. There's some fans that are still, butthurt to this day. Yeah. And I'm I didn't watch the races, but from my perspective, it cannot have been that serious.
The fact that those Facebook articles I was talking about can still make money by just saying, Rossi said this about Marquez.
I don't know what happened in 2015 or 2016, but I know there are people who are still butthurt about it. I don't know what happened.
Well, Rossi being one of them.
Yeah, but I know that there are people who are upset about it. And the fact that I know that is a beef, and they're upset about that, and I wasn't even there for what happened is crazy.
Yeah, the Lorenzo Rossi Marquez lore it's deep. Yeah. That stuff runs deep, and you got to dig for it now because it's been a while.
It's a decade ago.
But there's one man that made it through.
Yeah.
And that man, my final story for the night, I was watching when they get in the car and they go to the room?
The cool-down room?
Yeah, and then they
after they crash.
No, the cool-down room.
The cool-down room after the race, okay.
And they're watching the TV, right? And they get to watch the race back. They were watching, it was a clip of him and Alex next to each other, and they're watching the end of the race. And then Mark stands up and does his little whatever thing. He's which is the same thing that Top Rack did a couple days ago or something like that.
You know where that's from, right?
No.
So.
Okay, here we go.
All right, so recently in social media, there's an Indonesian, boat, they do boat racing out there. Mm-hmm. And there's a clip of the boat race happening. But at the tip of the boats, they're kids. And each boat has one kid, a mascot. And he would do a dance. Okay. And then it went viral on social media. So then they show you clips of other people's boats doing it, but there's this original dude, and he's in black. I'll show you a picture after. I'll show you a video after this.
Okay.
And it became so popular in the last couple of weeks. It's gone through all of social media. So now you have a bunch of different people just doing that dance in general, but then also in the realm of motorsports, you people doing four-wheel car racing.
Yeah.
I've seen. I think Kayla Yakov did it on her bike. Top Rack did it in World Superbike, I think.
Okay.
Marquez, it's everywhere.
That makes sense because I saw the clip of Top Rack doing it, and I was like, "There's something here that I didn't know." So thank you for keying me in on that.
I'll pull up the video.
The key story, we'll watch that after this is done. If you haven't seen it, go check it out too. But the key story here is that Alex saw it then, right? Because he wasn't able to see it live because he's racing behind him, 6 seconds behind him. he sees it on the TV and he's like, "Oh man, you did it! You did pretty good." And Mark's like, "Yeah, I pushed for the last 2 laps just so I had time to do that." And I was like, "Dude,
he's him."
Dude, can you imagine being at that level and being able to be like, yeah, I've got tire left. All right, let's get it just so I can do this
It's
dance."
kind of like when Top Rack did the stoppie, didn't make it.
Went and then did another stoppie. Yeah. Anyway, there are bests and greats out there, and MotoGP right now definitely has one of them. World Superbike 2 with Top Rack is doing pretty good. He might be coming to MotoGP soon, and I'm afraid for that. I wish he would just stick where he is and rule for a little while. But
he's won a couple years in a row, or has he only been winning with BMW?
He only won with BMW. He won like way back in the day with Yamaha, or with someone.
Oh, so it's been a gap since he's like, because he's old. Dominated.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
From the clips I've seen of this season.
As soon as he hopped on the BMW last year, he took off and just went nuts.
Yeah. And he's been doing really good this year too.
Yep. So, but yeah, he wants a shot at MotoGP.
I have another question for you. Last year, when Ducati did that, all the Ducati racers on Ducatis during a race, like the race of like what a Ducati, is that annual or is that like a weird promo thing?
Last year was the first time I had learned about it or heard about it. I'll have to get back to you on that because I don't know. I think it's annual, but I also think it was just because they're releasing a new. I think it's
like a new VR40, not VR46, a new Ducati V4 RS or whatever.
Yeah, whenever they release a new V4, they do a Ducati Race of Champions.
It was like a fun little. It's not MotoGP, it's not Moto America. It's like a little thing.
Yeah,
it was fun.
Yeah. So anyway, that's where we're gonna end tonight. Make sure you go vote for your rider of the week. I didn't do one last week because we had the same rider, but we'll do a little versus on the Instagram and throw it up. You can throw your vote on there. Check our Instagram story. If you're not following us on Instagram, go follow us on Instagram at JKMoto Entertainment.
Who's gonna win?
It'll be the Fabios, the battle of the Fabios for this week. But anyway, we appreciate you guys watching and/or listening, and we will see you actually next week for Czech GP, I believe. So round 12 and
round 12. Watch us mess up the number next week though. We'll say round 13 or 11 again.
On that note, go drag your knee on the ground at 100 miles an hour. We're out. Have you ever drug your knee on the ground at 100 miles an hour?